Hey everybody, thank you so much for clicking on this video. So you all loved that push-up video so much and we're requesting to make it a series breaking down different basic exercises. So that's what we're gonna do. Today we are deep diving into squats. So there are tons of different types of squats, but today we will stick to a proper body weight squat so that you can safely then add weight onto it. So the progression for our video today, we'll talk about why squats are important, what a proper squat looks like, and a progression to get you into a deeper body weight squat. So let's jump on in. Okay, we had to refill the coffee. Okay. So why are squats important? Squats are important because they mimic a motion that we do every single day, sitting and standing. That's literally what a squat is. And I talk about it a lot within my classes, on YouTube, on Instagram, on all of my platforms, training for the future. So have you ever seen an older person try to get up from a seated position? Many times they can't do it without using something to assist them to get up. A lot of this is due to weak glutes. So if we're thinking really, really simply, glutes are in charge of hip extension. Now that is really breaking it down very simple because glutes do a lot more than that. If you want to know more about that, you can check out my Functional Friday video all about it. But for today's purposes, in this example, hip extension. So I actually kind of just want to show you guys. So an older person getting up, a lot of times we have to compensate by leaning really far forward to use the body weight to help propel us, really using the quads for that knee extension. And then at the end, they can't get that hip extension. That's the glutes. So when they get to this position and they need something else to help pull them forward. So that's what we're training for. We want to be able to stand up without assistance as we get older. Now, aside from that, if we're thinking even more basic with the glutes, they actually stabilize your pelvis. So if you don't have strong glutes, your pelvis is not very stable and you won't be very stable. And especially as you get older, you will be way more prone to falls. So again, just thinking long-term, training for the future. Now, if we want to keep this thought process a little bit more in the present, aesthetically, squats are going to build your glutes. They're going to make your butt look nice. And then functionally in the present, squats are really just one of the best exercises you can do for your core. Any kind of compound lift like that or compound movement is going to be an incredibly efficient way to build the strength in your core. All right, let's look at what a proper squat looks like. So keeping in mind as I show you this, that everybody is anatomically very different. So everyone has different hips, everyone has different mobility. So just keeping that in mind as we go through this, but this is what my proper squat looks like. So for our setup, we want those feet to be about shoulder width apart. I like a very slight turnout, not sumo position, just a little slight turnout, especially for women, because we do want to work around those hips. From here, keeping the chest lifted, I like to bring the hands into heart center, sending the hips back, pinning the shoulder blades together, squeezing an orange between the armpits, and then driving into the heels to come back up. So looking at that from the side, really taking notice of the back here, how upright it stays. Sending the hips back, squeezing the armpits, driving into the heels to come back up. So just remember again, everyone is anatomically different. So your amount of turnout, your depth, your just overall squat is gonna look different from every other person's. But as long as we are working through some safety checkpoints there, then we're totally fine. With that being said, I actually wanna dive into the top 3 mistakes that I commonly see with my client squats and just people squats in general. And then I'm gonna tell you how to fix it. So the first mistake that I see a lot is the chest falling forward during a squat. If that's happening during someone's squat, that's telling me that either your back or just your entire core does need to be strengthened, because as we're coming down, it takes a lot of core stability to hold your trunk upright. So we're actually going to touch a little bit more on this as we get into the squat progression in the next section, but just some basic core exercises that you can do to really help progress your squat. I would recommend things like a Superman or anything where you're laying on your stomach, working for that spinal extension. I also think a single leg drop, whether it's straight legs or whether it's the heel taps like the marching and Pilates, are great. And then honestly, just a good old-fashioned plank. You really can't go wrong, and you can just keep all of these core exercises very, very simple. So the second most common thing that I see are the knees caving in. So this one actually usually goes 2 ways with a lot of my clients. Most clients actually just need the cue, hold at the bottom, press the knees out, then come back up. And that typically helps them and fixes the issue. So a lot of times that just tells me it's improper muscle recruitment. The other thing that could be happening are actually tight adductors or tight inner thighs. So as you're coming down, it's kind of pulling the knees in. So you can do some really basic exercises to loosen up the inner thighs before you start working. One of my favorites are adductor rocks, where you send one leg out and sit the hips back and forward. You can grab a strap and open the leg out to the side as you're laying on your back. And then the third most common thing that I see are the heels lifting up. So this could actually be a lot of things. This could be tight calves, to which I would say that you definitely need to work a little bit more calf stretches into your programming, especially before you start squatting. So you can do this by rolling out on a foam roller. You can do this by kneeling and pressing the knee up against the wall. So there's lots of things you can do there. It could be poor ankle mobility, which is kind of related to your calf flexibility or tightness as well. So in addition to working that ankle flexion, you also do want to make sure that you're working that ankle extension, working it in rotation. So whether you're doing like some ankle circles, bringing the top of your foot down, just a good rule of thumb, even if our goal is like to increase the range of motion one way in the joint, we don't want to ignore the other ways that the joint could move. This is a terrible idea to show you because this chair has wheels, but she's cute. So we're gonna hop into the progression to get to a proper body weight squat. It's actually really simple. All you really need here is a nice sturdy chair. So your first progression, if you cannot do a body weight squat, is an assisted squat. So we're gonna place our hands on the chair. Again, you do not want one with wheels. This is a terrible idea of mine, but you're essentially gonna pull yourself back, keeping your chest lifted, and then we come back up. So only going to the range of motion that feels good to you. So maybe you need to stop right here. This is the farthest you can go, with the hips staying nice and even, with the heels staying on the ground, and with the chest staying lifted, and then coming back up. I want you to practice these slow, and I want you to hold at the bottom for a moment to really use the glutes to help you get back up. As you get lower and lower in these, you can then progress to your next progression. So next progression is a box squat. So we're just gonna flip that chair around. That was actually really cool. All right, so flipping the chair around, we're gonna sit the hips back and we're gonna tap the booty on the chair. So I like to say you're going down to 80% and then you're coming back up. So sitting the hips back, oh my God, I'm scared. Oh, there we go. And then we come back up. So as we come down, this is what's gonna help us get the hips back, knees back toward the heels rather than going way over the toes, having the calves lift and keeping that chest forward. Or up, not forward. And as you wanna progress these, hold for a moment, hovering at the bottom, still at 80%, so you feel those glutes engaged, and coming back up. And then finally, it almost made it off the screen. You've made it to your body weight squat. Now, once you've got your squat ready to go, you can do a lot of fun things with it. You can add weight, you can play with the tempos, the angles. There's literally 1,000 different things you can do and endless ways to progress your squat. Final just random tip here. If you're not sure if your squats are looking good or not, film yourself. Like take out your phone, watch it back, give yourself notes, rinse, repeat. So let me know down in the comments what other types of exercises you want broken down. I definitely want to make this a little more of a series because I actually do think it's really fun and really informative. And make sure if you're not already, follow me on Instagram, and I can't believe I actually caved and joined it, TikTok, because I'm always making really short videos, pretty much breaking down exactly what we just did here for other exercises. But otherwise, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you all in the next one.
I can't rock fitters, I don't cap with them. I see fake on them. The ice look fake on them. The fuck this for? I got you, Drake.